Hello, this is Tom Schnauz, and you're watching Pimento. I'm fully clothed, also just for reference. Sitting next to me,
Peter Gould. I'm the co-creator of the show.
Hi, Vince Gilligan, co-creator of Better Call Saul.
Hello, Michael Mando. I play Nacho Vargo.
Michael McKean. I play Chuck McGill.
Hi, Curtis Thurber. I'm representing the two editors who cut this episode, Skip McDonald and myself.
And this is Mark Proksch, and I play Pryce in this episode.
and we're watching the teaser, what was not originally written as the teaser. We had a whole other teaser which showed a young James
with his
McGill.
dad.
Don't say too much. Don't want to ruin
okay.
it.
It may appear somewhere else.
Good.
But because I overshot this mark just terribly, we decided to lift the teaser to get it to time, and we just moved the first.
I think it works
one.
beautifully as a teaser, actually.
Yeah.
I think
So, by the way, Tom, it was more important to you to tell everybody you're wearing pants than that you actually wrote and directed this episode?
Oh yeah, I wrote and directed this.
Yes.
People.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Were you wearing pants when you wrote and directed it?
Not always.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes.
They're so constricting.
You had the hula skirt for at least one scene.
I know what the people want. Anyway, we have Chuck sitting outside his house for an extended period of time.
You know, it's interesting because it was painful to cut anything from this episode because it's so beautifully executed. We had an interesting time this season because the episodes didn't always run at the length or the pace that we expected. There were earlier episodes, like episode 4, that ended up being way shorter than we expected. And then this one, which was longer than we expected. And it's just so much has to do with the rhythm of the cast and just the rhythm of the storytelling. And it's not predictable. I wouldn't say we have a complete grasp of it yet, but it's so far it's worked in our favor. And I love this little moment between you guys.
I love it. You guys are so good together.
It's a good teaser because it's about the relationship between the two brothers.
Yeah.
It actually does bookend the episode a little better than the original. As much as I love the original teaser, the way the brothers end up, this is a great starting point.
Urinal.
That-
We had to have
What is that from? It?
that is Little Barry, a group out of the UK, led by a gentleman who I think is nicknamed Little Barry, who's an amazing guitarist.
Wow.
And he just kind of came up with, he and his
Nice.
guys kind of came up with some licks, and we picked that one.
Very nice.
He's great. He and his guys are great. Really great band out of England.
Something about traditional British rock and rollers that just tickles me.
I just realized that we should be talking over this, and I'm trying to not talk so we can hear the dialogue.
No, we can talk.
You haven't seen this yet?
If anybody is listening to this without watching the episode, stop.
It just clicked. I'm trying to be really quiet as the actors are talking.
Yeah, we're just you can
Hey,
just
I have a question for you guys in terms of the pacing of stuff. I realize when we're playing the scenes, you guys are very open with us taking the time that it needs for us to get there emotionally. And then you were saying that sometimes you realize the episodes are longer or shorter. How does that approach work with the pacing of what you think about the scene when you're writing it? Do you think about the possibility of these pauses?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
When we write it, we try. I mean, we love. Again, it's just an influence of westerns and open spaces and wanting things to play out in looks between characters. I wish we were better at timing these things. I feel like we were better on Breaking Bad, but for somehow on Better Call Saul, it's gotten away from us because I think we didn't quite know. Saul, Jimmy is a different pace character than Walter White. And those. I think we just would have had a better handle on Breaking Bad than.
but to be fair,
than
Breaking
this.
Bad, it took 62 episodes to get that dialed
That's
in. So
That's true, but this feels like an extension of Breaking Bad. So I felt like coming in like we should know this, but we were kind of off on a lot.
That's true in so many
The
ways.
episodes.
We thought we knew what the show was going to be, and the show just organically emerged as its own unique beast.
so here's Dennis Boutsikaris.
Boutsikaris.
Who's I've still not met this gentleman. I've loved his work
Oh,
for
he's
a great
a
many
super guy.
years. And he is
Just a
so good in this
terrific guy.
episode.
And he's so good in the last one,
And so
too.
great in the last
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And the judge's nameplate is a great shout out to the sound designer,
Sound,
correct?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nick Forshager.
Yes.
Nick Forshager. He laughed with such delight when he saw that.
We needed. There's a very funny blooper when while we were shooting this, the Constitution behind Bob fell off the wall while he was talking. It was perfect.
Foreshadowing.
And we're actually back in the original courtroom from episode 1.
With
Big gulp
the
lady.
original
Big gulp lady.
Jennifer Bean. Yeah.
Jennifer Bean, our court reporter.
Well, I think they wrote a nice article up about her in the Albuquerque paper, I believe.
They did.
This gentleman does a nice job.
There's another scene we dropped between this one and the scene you're seeing now, which was Jimmy running down the stairs of the courthouse, quoting lines from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and high-fiving people in the. But again, for time, we dropped that as well.
But available as an extra.
Excellent!
Yes, it is an extra.
I love it.
Along with many other wonderful things.
We love our movie references in Saul.
That's the fun thing about writing a character who is a movie buff.
It is.
God
knows we are.
He can throw in as many references as we want.
How does that work? Do you guys have a specific area of films that you guys want Jimmy? Like, did you guys say Jimmy is a fan of these films, or is he just a fan of movies
Pretty much
in general?
the ones we like.
Yeah.
The ones that you like, yeah.
We're saying he has good taste.
We're pretty wide-ranging.
And it's also the individual writers get to pick, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I do all the porn.
The one that Thomas is in?
Yeah, here's the set where you have to break every 10 minutes.
10 minutes out of the hour.
10 minutes out of an hour because of the smoke that's pumped in here for
Oh,
atmosphere.
yeah. Uh-huh.
How is that working in a smoky?
It's better than it used to be. The first time I worked with a lot of smoke, it was a different chemical. This is benign. It was on 1941, not the year of the movie. I was a little young for a 1941 movie, but
1800s.
it was my first feature, and we were on a soundstage firing howitzers. Really firing howitzers on a sound. It was pretty loud.
Holy God.
But they also piped in. They had all this smoke. And they wanted it to hang a certain way, and it was this chemical smoke, and everybody got diarrhea.
Oh,
Because
really?
you're
Was it
inhaling
mineral oil
mineral
smoke?
oil. Yeah.
That was William
So it's
Fraker
like-
was the DP of that, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like drinking castor oil, but you're inhaling
That's
it.
right,
every-
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was pretty dire.
That's awful.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was fun shooting gigantic guns inside.
Oh my God, you could lose your hearing, I would think.
Yeah, it was pretty loud.
And I'm so sad for Jimmy here. He's given up this case, sort of.
But I got to tell you, Michael's making Chuck is making
Chuck's
a great point
argument
here.
is solid.
This is the scene where people started telling me I should play L. Ron Hubbard. And I think it's because of there's a picture of Hubbard wearing a kind of a scarf, kind of this loose kind of thing. Very similar to this.
All right, let's do it.
No, thank you. I'm not going to play anything I've seen Philip Hoffman do.
I think the beauty here is that Chuck's arguments in this episode all have an enormous amount of validity.
Oh, yeah.
He really makes a lot of sense.
You know, regarding what Chuck does to Jimmy, we can say that, right? Even though they haven't seen it. I had a friend who's a lawyer of mine, and he said that he understands your point of view completely because the law is so sacred for lawyers. Like it's beyond family, it's beyond religion.
Mm-hmm.
Some lawyers, the
They
law.
don't believe that.
No, some supposedly some do.
Only joking lawyers.
We know you're all idealists.
But that was his point of view, which kind of was new to me because I thought that they were just in it it was just a business.
Right, yeah.
But he said no, that for them, some of them, it really is.
What's best for the client?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Of course it is.
Well, it's
Otherwise, it's not a real functioning thing. Of course, that's the job.
We're trying to approximate justice, with this system that we've got, and it's an important role to play. But I still think Jimmy's a really good lawyer. I think Chuck,
I do too.
I think Chuck might underestimate. If Chuck watched the show, I wonder if it would change any.
Well,
of his
listen,
thoughts
saving
about it.
those two clowns in the desert.
Yes.
They got off, as he says.
Yes.
You were in a death. I took the death penalty off the table.
That's true.
You got two broken legs. I'm
That's
the best lawyer ever, and he's right. It's
It's his superpower.
Of course, they wouldn't have been there if it weren't for him.
Let's
This is
let's
also
skip
true.
over that part. Let's skip over that part. Now it starts sounding like American foreign policy. I don't know.
in other words,
I love the way you
incomprehensible.
play this. I love that, and I love that. It was that was not in the script, was it? The shot of the pencil. It
No,
almost
that
like
was
he's
just
gonna
something we
kill his
discovered
brother.
because it was a challenge for Arthur Albert, our DP, to light. I was like, I don't want any lamps on anywhere in the room. And he was like, how the hell am I going to light this? So, but he had, the outside vapor lamps, a little orange coming through the window here and there. And it just happened when Michael picked it up. He was like, oh, this is could be my weapon almost, when he presented the pencil
That was nice.
in the shadow of the
It's very. It seems so dangerous.
Yeah,
That
what's
pencil.
he gonna do there?
Yeah.
It's so much of what I learn in these commentaries is how alive you have to be to what's going on in front of you on the set, because you can come in with all sorts of preconceptions about how it's supposed to work, but it keeps changing.
It's helpful when your blood flow is not constricted by
And
pants.
we shot that scene. We shot that scene at the mailbox. There was just a little bit of light in the sky too. So it was, it was
Yeah,
really,
nice.
That's pretty.
So I
I love this scene.
Yeah,
so
this
much.
scene is
fucking
God,
love
amazing.
this scene.
This is
It's kind of like the
Good
birds.
job,
It's like the
Thomas.
birds and the crows assembling behind behind Tippy Hedren.
and this is also Curtis. You cut this whole act, didn't you?
I did. These guys were so great. It made my job easy. We got to go home early that day.
Oh, so you cut the whole act in a day?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How tall is
This
this
is
guy?
Big Dave Matty. He
He's
is
extremely
6'10".
Sweetheart of a
Holy
guy.
hell!
6'10". Yes.
And
Big
Tom
man.
had some
It's-
great shots to illustrate it coming up.
I love this one. And I love this one coming up even more. This next
Yeah,
one.
the
This
next one is.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Police Squad.
Yeah, Police Squad.
Police
Yeah.
Squad. Yes.
You have something on your mouth. On the other
On the
side.
Banana fall.
And then this gentleman,
Stephen Ogg.
Stephen
Yeah.
Ogg
Which
is
I did not
wonderful.
know until recently. He's very
He's
big
great.
in Grand Theft Auto and video games. He's like
Oh.
a big video game voice guy.
Okay.
And I had no clue.
He is hilarious.
But then
He's
we
so
have,
rough and ready. He wants the action right now. It's so great.
But this is what Michael was talking about. Michael Mando. It's one of the two Michaels here. These guys are taking their time with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it so much funnier. It's the timing of this.
In the script, we called him Soap Check off of, we're trying to think, when we were writing this, we were trying to think of who this character should be, and we kind of thought of John Goodman's character from Big Lebowski
Right.
as a starting point, and then worked from there.
He's such a dick.
I love that look the big guy gives.
But he's likable at the same time,
Yes.
and that's a talent.
Yes.
Well,
I
he's
love,
pitiful.
And then when Mark shows up, it's just like you're showing up here in a
Yeah,
minute.
you're
Mark.
great in this, Mark.
This scene I could watch over, and
It's so funny.
Yes, we have.
I predicted this thing would be on YouTube like 5 minutes after the East Coast airing the first time.
And just for Breaking Bad fans, I keep getting, the question I get asked most about this episode, which I didn't expect, was, is this the same parking deck that Gus
Well, that was my question
was
to you
on?
too.
Yeah, and it is not. It's a completely different
Okay.
space.
It's a more convenient space for you.
Yes.
There you go. But
Yeah.
you can see the rail yard there in Albuquerque, which is actually where Mike arrived in episode 6. So it all ties together. It's a Swiss watch. And
Of course, he's got a gun. Dipshit.
And I was,
Duh.
I'll tell you about it. We can just do the dialogue right here.
I love, and Vince added, I love this, you added the Gen 3 part about the.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
to the-
Well,
that was something I don't know anything about guns. I did my
You
research
did great.
to write this because I know I'm writing for a big gun expert over here. So I was like, I better.
I'm no expert, but this scene is all yours, and you fucking crushed the
Yes.
whole episode's all.
Yes.
You fucking
One of my-
crushed this thing. I just
Yeah.
had to add a little.
And then
add
here
a
we
little
get
extra.
the
Here's Mr.
the
Proksch.
musical entrance.
So good. You are so good.
What
Man.
a great character.
Let's
Great
get you
scene,
talking
Mark.
here.
It's a great character, and I mean, it's he's schlubby and he's slouchy and he wears oversized pleated pants. And if I ever put anything on a gravestone, I always played characters with pleated pants.
Why do you think that is? Is that in your contract? Do you request
Yeah,
that?
well, yeah, it's I have that big rider for my character acting work.
Because you're not wearing pleated pants right now.
No, I am not.
yeah,
No.
I
yeah,
don't think the
these would
Zim
be
Zam
noted.
Yo-Yo Man wore pleated pants either.
Oh yes, absolutely. No, I'm lucky enough to play characters that I find funny in real life, and
I love that. Yeah. How much? I mean, how much when the pauses and whatnot? How much of that are you thinking in advance? How much of that you're just sort of feeling it?
yeah, it's all just I mean, I do my homework, but a lot of it's just instinctual. As all of my favorites, Bob Newhart and Benny and all those guys. There's just natural stammering that I have and was cursed with as a child and have luckily parlayed it into a career. But
Well, I love it because there's such a thought process, and also the dialogue that Tom wrote for you, where you realize, I'm going to repeat the same word. But there's no way around repeating the word, so I'll stop and then all right, I'll just repeat it.
So glad this gun thing worked the way it did. Curtis did a fantastic job. When I saw it cut together, because I had all these pieces, and this removal of the gun, that's Jonathan's stunt double Doc, who did amazing work, just grabbing that gun and injecting the cartridge.
It happened so quickly.
It's beautifully cut.
Yeah.
Beautifully
very
shot,
well done.
beautifully cut. And I love, Curtis, you took one frame out during the throat hit and makes it
it's so sharp.
exponentially
Yeah.
more violent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And funnier still.
This was Jonathan really wanted to kick him over. That was not scripted. He was.
Well, Jonathan also wanted to punch somebody in the throat. He said that he had been waiting for that.
He wanted to
long
punch
time.
you, Curtis, right?
He's threatened to punch all of us in the throat.
I was like, mix it up, man. How about the nads? What the?
Hey, Curtis, I have a question for you. When you edit, do you go over the whole footage and then pick like your 3 favorite takes of every angle and then place them together and try them out?
It's really a process of we certainly go through the whole footage, and so much of it is great that you sort of, after you've finished going through, you go back to the beginning and really look at the strongest way to start the scene, and then from there, you kind of you can feel out what the best place to be is to tell the story, and then you go through again and make sure you've got the performance, and it's every single line is like a process of building that performance, and what builds the best story is ultimately the best way to go.
That's a good way to do it.
But Michael, I can hear the question underneath your question, which is yes, they watch all of it.
My question is this. No, first of all, you answered one of it, which is you start, the most important take that you pick is the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that is enlightening for me. And the second thing is, do you like test out like 3 takes after that, or do you go with your instinct? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you build it like by trial and error every single time you make a cut?
I think it's all about instinct, and everybody's got their own insights that they bring into it, and that's when we go through the director's cut and the producer's cut, you start to just discover what the scene is. But it's a lot about instinct, and I think a lot of scenes hinge around these key moments, like that throat moment, and the timing around those key moments, I think, is ultimately what leads to the success of a lot of scenes.
I love the scene between Michael and Bob in the waiting, the little ante room, whatever that's called.
The
there.
mudroom we call it.
Mudroom, yeah. They're so. I feel like they're so close, which helps the ending of this episode become even more devastating.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so much affection between these two characters in the previous episode and then this episode. It's just it's heartbreaking to me.
That's the consensus. Is that we set them up and we mowed them down. And some people like being mowed down more than others.
I know. There's Patrick Fabian, wonderful as always.
I've always
Great
liked
scene.
Patrick's character.
Yeah.
I've always thought he had integrity and the respect for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also very impressed with himself. It's just not to an unhealthy degree. He's actually very good, and he's a fabulous front man for a company.
Yeah,
Jesus.
But he's straightforward. He tells you what he thinks. There's no
Eventually.
hypocrisy. No, but in general, I feel to everybody, even Bob, he tells Jimmy's character what he thinks about him openly.
Yeah. And of course, we're talking about the character, not the actor.
Yeah.
Patrick Fabian
the actor's
is
an asshole.
Who makes pickles?
He's just unfriendly and moody and not good looking. And it's
can't
just
look him in
awful.
the
It's
eye.
amazing how they make him so handsome.
I know, the movie
using
magic.
The makeup,
Yeah.
the makeup
digital
is
effects.
incredible.
Got that weird rash
Yes.
all over one side of his head. Yeah. Now, hey, Michael, are you really wearing? Was
Yes.
that thing underneath?
It was there all day. I think maybe once we were in the meeting, we just thought we'd see it here maybe, and we never did. The only time you see it was the tails with
Okay,
the
gotcha.
event.
I love this shot.
So great.
And it's also remarkably well staged in every way,
Beautiful.
including avoiding reflections on those glass doors.
Thank you for doing that, Tom.
Sure.
By the way. Saved us a shit ton of money.
That's what I'm all about,
Racing.
saving money.
And are those all digital extras there, Tom?
Yes, they're puppets.
They're puppets?
Yeah, no,
There were trays of grape nuts. That's how they used to do it. You know that?
No, what?
In crowd scenes, they would sometimes, if they had like a Coliseum scene or something, they'd have right in front of the camera lens, they'd have a tray of grape nuts with somebody going like this. Totally out of focus. So you're just seeing kind of this.
Great.
Oh.
It's an old trick.
Oh, we're going to try that.
Yeah.
We're going to try that.
but there are seriously a
know that.
lot of extras there, and we're so thankful to Brett, our AD, and all the assistant directors.
Yeah. Beautifully
They do
wrangled day.
It's not an easy thing to do,
No.
and they made it. I mean, that was not the only scene we shot that day, so it was.
Yeah.
I was so thankful to them for being so organized.
My hat is off to you, my friend. I've known Tom since 1986, and you are such a good director, man. And you do it fast too. You do it efficiently and fast, and you get it right. And here I thought you were
Working
just
with
like
the
a fucking
crew and
lowlife.
these actors.
Yeah, really,
Wait a minute. What?
I always thought you were kind of a nincompoop.
seriously, man, you have turned into. You are such a great. This is only the second thing you've ever directed, not counting the student film we worked on.
That's
together.
right.
Great,
You did a
great
great
job.
job.
Thank you so
Great
much.
job. And the crew loves you.
And it makes up for your writing.
Thank you, Peter.
20% of the common.
We can't say things like that. Actors can't say things. Like writers can say that about each other. Right? Actors can't say that.
That's true. Well,
It's like doing dialect stories, you know? You can do that
Not
if you're really
anymore.
from that place.
yeah, so true.
This is on the page when you write something like this room full of people who have to exit. You start
I know.
thinking, gee, this is
Yeah.
going to take how much screen time is
Well,
this
how
going to
about
take?
how about if everybody had a speech in this scene? We'd still be there shooting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you have to get everybody from every angle,
Yes.
that's
Oh, yeah.
and a round table, man, it makes actors go pale. They know they're not getting out of there anytime soon.
But Curtis, speaking of which, I mean, you got everybody out of the room very quickly here.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's
I think it
nicely
helps
done.
but it's believable.
Yeah, it's not forced.
to be in the heads of Howard and Jimmy and Chuck as people are leaving. Helps you speed up those moments, but it also keeps you on the focus of the scene, which is what they're feeling.
Because of the other episode I directed, which was Breaking Bad 507, I had another scene with Hank in a room full of DEA agents, and everybody had to get up and clear out for him too. I keep getting these scenes where
Yeah.
That's right.
that's my specialty.
Yes.
yeah.
Get people out
You
of
need a
room.
room cleared, hire Tom Schnauz.
Yeah, people get out of a room quick. Yeah.
Minored in room clearing acting.
That's what they teach you at NYU.
That's right.
How to clear a room.
We don't want
So this is a scene I hope people go back and rewatch because Patrick
case.
and Michael both are working on another level because they know a truth. It has to play believably the first time you see it that he's upset, but when you go back and watch it, there's little hints throughout, like when Michael's in the car and he kind of has a look about the phone. You know he knows a truth that you learn later in the episode.
I love how you even wrote it in the script that Howard sort of has a difficult time looking at Jimmy as he's breaking the news,
Right.
and that really comes through, but it's very subtle on screen.
I love that, Michael. That little bit you did there. With the,
Your indignation in this is
Well,
really spot on.
If an actor has to, if a character has to act, you have to make the decision of how good he is.
Yes.
And in this case, it's like it's 100% necessary that we get away with this.
Yes.
That this stays. That this is a moment we play outside of Jimmy's knowledge. So it has to be thorough. I mean, it has to be completely believed.
And based on what Jimmy says in episode 1 about it's about the money, Chuck thinks that, of course, Jimmy is going to take the money. He's going to come to his senses, and he's going to take
everyone's-
this giant settlement. And
everyone
not-
will be happy.
Yeah, everyone will be happy. So it's very surprising
I love
when,
that.
when Jimmy sticks to his guns and says it's his case.
Chuck doesn't really understand Jimmy fully. He understands something about him, though.
Yeah. One of the things he understands about him is that he's never going to be as good a lawyer as Chuck. And it really makes you wonder what if it turned out that Jimmy was right out of the box a brilliant lawyer, and he still would feel the same way because he knows the history.
Yeah.
And that's huge, you know. I know you. That's an important line in this.
And what I love is that the viewers hopefully have watched all Breaking Bad, and they know the future. And many people can hear Chuck and say, you know what, Chuck is actually right. He becomes a murderous, dangerous person. But then hopefully half the audience thinks, well, would he have become that person if not for the things Chuck did to him? So it's it's a good argument that I hope people have.
Because I also wonder if there's not a little bit of jealousy on Chuck's part that things have come too easily for his prodigal brother.
Sure.
People like him in ways that Chuck has never necessarily felt.
Most important,
warmth, you know,
Mom likes him.
Yeah,
we always-
exactly.
Mom
We
always
always had
liked
that-
it. He made Mom
Yeah.
laugh. I couldn't do that.
Exactly.
I made
We always
Mom
had
very
that
proud,
image,
but he made her happy in some way.
Yeah. And you know, these
It's unforgivable.
It's so interesting because we would not have come up with that without seeing your performance in the early episodes. I think our
Well, I thank you for keeping me in the dark.
Well, we
About
were in
a
the
lot of
dark
it. I
for
thought it was
quite a
no,
lot of
that's
it.
great.
we
That
were
was
in the
great.
dark. We didn't know, but it's the wonderful thing about television, about this kind of work, is that we can watch the performance and learn from it, and we can see what you're doing, and that can inform what we do, and that's I don't know, it's the best example of that I've ever seen.
Well, same here. And it's this kind of collaboration doesn't happen everywhere.
We are very lucky.
We are.
Wonderful set designed by Tony Fanning, built by W. Gilpin. And
that's on the stage?
That's on the stage
That's
with
not in on
a big giant photograph out the window of actually Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Unfortunately,
Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
For some reason, you're in Albuquerque, but you look out the window and see Los
And then
Angeles.
some fake hedges in the foreground as
Right.
the tops of trees being blown by a little quiet electric fan. And then this is some of Ray's finest acting, I think, of this
She's
season,
wonderful in
and
this
Patrick as well. They are so good together in this scene. And I love your shot making here, Tom. How you keep them so far apart compositionally here. You want to talk about that?
I mean, just maybe it's my love of Columbo and so many shots where he will walk away from somebody and then turn around and say something. And the distances. There's a great Patrick McGowan directed episode called By Dawn's Early Light, where they're in a courtyard and they start closer and he walks away and they get further and further apart. And just
The military school?
Yes.
Yes.
Bruno
Kirby
Kirby
Jr.'s
Jr.'s in it.
Guy gets
Yes,
killed in a
and he's definitely
cannonball.
in it.
That is a
Okay.
great episode. of
It's
television.
really good.
That's a great one.
Stop. Close the door.
I'll tell you, I love this character,
I love that
Kim,
shot.
in this moment because she has done something that in her world is truly heroic. She has
fearless.
stood up. She stood up
Yeah.
for her friend.
After denying kind of being friends with him and not, sort of covering up how well she actually knows him when Patrick asks, when Hamlet asks in the earlier episodes.
So here's
I
Mark
love this.
again. Mark and Michael. What do you guys have fun shooting this scene?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And I just love the juxtaposition that's coming up, with this guy that's clearly in over his head and, has no idea how to act around, a gang member, obviously, you know, and he's
Yeah, they showed me this. They brought me to this location that looked like the cover of the album, Pink Floyd album, Animals. And I was like, okay, I have to shoot here.
Is that why you wore that shirt that day?
That's what I did. I wore my
Yeah.
animal shirt that day.
Ah, what is this? Is it an old factory or it's all closed down, right?
It's all closed down. Yeah, it's
or an
just-
old
I
power
think they-
generation place.
I got to say, a lot of Albuquerque looks kind of like that. You know,
It
just
w-
like a lot of the valley looks
Yeah.
that way. You know, it's just
That's true.
It was
kind of-
interesting when we watched some of the dailies in the early cut. I thought it was operating, but it was just the wind moving the loose panels around. Oh God, here he comes!
There it is. There
Oh
it
my
is.
God!
Mando.
oh, there's trouble.
We've
yeah.
missed
You're a
him.
charismatic young man.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
you are.
He is.
I love your delivery here.
These two worlds collide. You two guys are so great together.
And there he
These
is.
three guys.
They're-
Obviously, Jonathan. and
Ping ponging in between the two players.
Yeah. That,
So what are you thinking, Michael? Are you thinking, what the fuck who is this guy?
No, I think the interest really quickly goes to Jonathan. I think he quickly realizes that, you know, this guy is very comfortable. He's dressed in a very specific way. He's older and
Yeah.
he seems to know what's going on. I think the interest right away is, who is this guy? Why have I never seen him before? How come he's so comfortable?
Yeah.
Why is he by himself? And he's dressed a bit like a cop.
That's a good point.
That is a good
That's
point.
a good point. And in the way he's got his hands crossed, does he have a pistol right in his waistband underneath? What's
Right.
going
He
on
clearly
there?
looks like he's hiding something or...
And we know he doesn't have a gun at all. Was that? Do you think, Tom? Do you think Jonathan was thinking, "I'll play it like I might have my hand on a pistol under my belt here"?
We didn't talk about that. This is something he did. And I mean, it looked right to me while we were filming it.
There's
so
something kind of military, something kind of rough and ready about it, even though he's not moving. I think it reads cop somehow.
It does. I think you guys are right.
We just had a little fan off screen to blow the 20.
and I remember it wasn't blowing
Yeah.
take after take, and it was breaking my heart because I love this scene where I kind of, you know, shuffle off to get a $20 bill, and it's so degrading.
I've shuffled off after
$20
bills in this show. Nobody does it like that. I love working for these guys.
That's
Always
right.
throwing
You had
money
the,
on the
you
floor.
had the
gotta
five you
stomp
had to
on
chase
it.
after. That's right.
What I love about the $20 bill bit is Tom and I had a talk about how it was very important that he doesn't throw it.
Yeah.
There should be no movement of
There's
the
an oops
wrist
about it.
Yeah.
because that means two different things. So it was just important that he just lets it go as opposed to
Yes.
throws it on the floor.
even more humiliating.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's more humiliating, but I think it's less trying to abuse your power, more making a point, kind of thing.
It's a very interesting scene because it's a kind of a short scene that feels long. It
Yeah.
feels long while you're in it. It doesn't. Not that much time goes by though. It's just it's about positioning and time.
And these two guys are so still.
Yeah.
Mike and Nacho are so still.
Yeah.
They're like statues. And I you make these. When you move, Michael. It's so small. I can't take my eyes. I can't take my eyes away. Just the glance, and it all feels like Pryce is almost superfluous. It's just all about you and Mike.
I think the less you give away in a situation like that, the safer, the smarter and the safer you are. The less you say something, the better the choice because you're more protected that way.
But Mr. Proksch, you are not superfluous, my friend. And I love this scene. I love this scene.
You know,
you guys are so good in this scene.
Yeah.
I know you were earlier. You guys were all just blowing smoke up Tom's ass about being a great director, but really, he joking. There was some silence there. I wasn't prepared for. Just to see where you're going with it. But he honestly, he got me to do something different than I normally do, and here, which is, take a little more time and be a little more considerate of the scene.
I think
and
the only note I gave you, which is just think about what
yeah,
Mike is saying to you. Just give it some time to let it register with you.
and that was
Instead of coming back right away with your line, you just give it and you did it. You did it beautifully.
And having no acting background, that was a huge.
Is that true?
Like thought. Yeah.
No,
oh, yeah,
really?
I have not.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Why did we hire him?
Yeah. I know.
Let's not make that
And
mistake.
you're a natural, man.
Background check, please, on these.
You're
people?
a natural, Mark.
And so I think, but what I was saying is that type of note is really great. You know, I wouldn't think of that. And Tom was right there, and without scaring the hell out of me, he just gave me an easy.
You're fucking it up.
Yeah, you're ruining my
Fuck it
episode.
It
So
really-
it's high praise to Tom.
I ditto that. I think, Tom, you do have that quality where actors feel like they can talk to you and have a nice rapport.
And touch me. They
And
me a
touch
lot,
you
too.
and caress your
It's
head
uncomfortable, but
It's a good thing.
and shower together.
Yeah.
I'm married now.
I want her to hear it. I want it to hurt.
It's such a great shot at the top of this act.
It
too,
is a
that,
great
that
shot.
crane down up to the reveal.
I like how you got him reflected in the puddle here.
And we didn't even mention the last scene, Jonathan. That philosophy
Yeah.
of good guy, bad guy is
Well,
so
that-
beautifully expressed.
Well, that came out of the writers' room. All of us talking together about. We love the Mike scenes, but like, what was the point of them?
Yeah.
And once we decided that he had that speech, that sort of just it because Mike and Jimmy don't cross paths in this episode, but somehow with that speech, it connects them in a way.
Yeah.
That
That's true. They barely cross paths for the rest of the season.
I remember us thinking that's a very good point you're making, Tom, because the drug deal went swimmingly. Nobody got shot.
Right.
Therefore, what is the point of seeing it? And
Right.
the point of seeing it was the cap on the end. Was
because we
the,
had a
the
whole
capstone.
other pitches about
that's
a
right.
drug deal going wrong.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Mike needing to pull this guy out of the fire and everything.
But that
then-
speech doesn't happen without him saying, "I'm not a criminal."
Yes.
We
right.
just saw you commit a crime.
That's
right.
That
Yeah.
makes you a criminal.
Yeah.
This. I'm going to tell you how that works.
I'm not a bad
Very
guy.
elegant.
And bad guy versus criminal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Morality.
Yeah.
Gray there.
Bob and Ray are both great in this.
They are
And since they're not here, we're not going to talk about their scenes.
No, I love you see the tears in Ray's eye when Jimmy snaps at her.
She does a wonderful job here.
She
And
is-
Bob, of course, as
she's
always.
so torn.
Yes. She wants to tell him, but she doesn't want to tell him because it would crush him.
Yeah.
And it's great.
She's trying to protect him from something that she knows will really hurt him.
Financial reward without the risk.
And she doesn't get mad. She just and she hides the hurt as best she can, but you still see the tear well up.
God, you?
Mhm.
You sure know where your bread is.
She's
buttered, huh?
great.
Don't want to
She
go up
is.
against the boss. Is that it?
And-
you're
and-
like a damn pod.
Bob is both funny and heartbreaking here.
Yeah,
He
it
is-
goes from being
yes.
funny to this.
Yes.
It's no longer funny now. It
Yeah.
started off funny, and
Yeah.
then it's like, no, this isn't funny. This is sad.
Yeah.
I always loved how Skip, our other editor with Curtis, would always laugh out loud every time Bob said the word unwashed asshole. An unwashed
Every
asshole.
time.
boss
Every
is-
That's a good Tomism right there.
Well, it's also the transition he makes. He hates him. I hate him twice as much. Hey, and then he offers.
What
a
you
drink.
drinking?
What are you drinking?
It's so funny. in that.
Yeah. And this is so elegantly shot too. This moment.
Thank you.
And
Here's our
thought through.
only Dave Porter music in that. But we almost went the whole episode without hearing any of Dave Porter's work. But
But he whines so much.
Yeah, that's right. He was begging.
I'm just kidding.
He's over the end credits though.
Dave is wonderful, and
surprisingly, a surprising lack of music throughout this episode.
a little goes a long way
Yeah.
actually, in this, especially in this.
But
episode.
even just source music. There's there's nothing.
You're
in
right.
this episode.
Well,
We make up for it the next one.
That's true.
Yeah,
but
okay.
you know what? An important point to make musically. Neither gentleman, Dave Porter nor Thomas Goljubich, we're not looking to tell people how to feel with our music, and that's why there's less music on this show and on Breaking Bad than there are on a lot of shows. We're not trying to tell anyone what emotion to feel. Oh,
This
here's
tune is called
Yeah.
"Rotten Farewell," written by myself.
nice.
Yeah.
You're
There
a
is
good
a very
whistler.
rare recording that Nina Jack can play you now with me, Jack Black, Bela Fleck on
Wow.
banjo,
Banjo, yeah.
and T-Bone Burnett, and a brilliant fiddler named Richard Green. And I did it for a series of spots for the IFC channel.
Oh,
Back when that was a channel without commercials and everything. It was great.
yeah, I remember well. It's a nice. You're a good whistler too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, listen to a lot of Hoagie Carmichael growing up.
So I'm Michael and Bob. Just they did their homework for this scene. I mean, they came in. I didn't have to do anything really, except point the. I mean, really, they prepared so much. They came. They were so. And Bob was, very specific about. I mean, he knew the importance of the scene to the season, what it meant, and he came in so. I mean, both guys came in so ready that. It was just a matter. I just had to do my setups and let them run. It's a hard scene. It's an emotionally hard scene for these guys. I don't know how you do it over and over again, Michael, when you're asked to do this.
Michael, were you able
Sorry,
to...
I wasn't listening. Michael's miles away. This is an awfully good scene.
Michael, were you and Bob able to rehearse before you came to set?
We ran it, but we also worked on the previous day, I think. Didn't we work on it, or didn't we? I know that we had the set for an hour, maybe.
Yeah, we talked
before we
through
shot
it.
anything, and it really helped. But we had run some of the stuff.
Yeah. Bob came in. No, he wanted. He chose that spot to sit in. I didn't put him there. I think when I storyboarded it, I had put him in another chair in the corner or something. And he was like, "This feels good to me." So I just worked around what they did, and Michael came in when having the specific of wanting to sit on the edge of the couch, and I didn't want to fuck with them too much because these guys are, so good, and I was just like, I'm just gonna watch what they do and figure out the angles.
That was very wise, my friend. I got to say, I need more experience as a director, but when I do direct a scene like this, I try to have it all in my head where everybody is, and that can be a real pitfall as a director because you can mess up the actors and what they're feeling, and also it's like you got to be able to roll with it, especially on a TV schedule. You got to be able to roll with it.
I'm so grateful that all the time I got to spend on Breaking Bad shadowing Michelle McLaren and Terry McDonough and just watching them work, and that was something because without them I probably would have been rigid to storyboards, and I learned to let that go. I storyboard everything, but
you do. You not just shot list, but storyboards.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I probably should. Shot list probably help the ads more, but I tend to draw little pictures.
That's awesome. Whatever works for you. You're doing it right, man. Whatever you're doing.
But it is true that you have to be able to see what's in front of you and respond to it in the moment, which is not an easy thing to do. It calls for a lot of confidence.
Well, the tricky bit is that we act the scene from the inside out, and you guys have to put it in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just we're moving in two different directions. And when those are at odds, then you get a guy who says, let's do a 360. Which you put this actors in the middle and we'll go like this and it'll be pretty no matter what they do. But, here we felt like the scene was growing and we were capturing it. It was lovely.
Yeah, when it gets to this point, I mean, this is, from a director standpoint, shot-wise, this is basic coverage. I do sit over the shoulder and then I get some titles.
But if that's what you need, that's what you do.
Yeah, because it's all in there. I didn't want to do like profile shots because the emotion is in their eye. They're them looking at each other. So you want to be over the shoulder and almost in the character's head as they're looking at each other.
You're also
it just makes it that much more.
You're not adding push-ins or unnecessary movement.
Right.
It's you're letting the scene dictate your choices.
I didn't
which is
do
great.
a lot of camera movements in this episode. Which I think helps.
Yeah, all that other stuff. There's nothing wrong with all those tricks in the bag of tricks, but using them sometimes tells the audience, gee, the director here is either trying to draw attention to him or herself, or they don't believe, they don't fundamentally believe in the material.
This is where it unveils for me, though.
Yeah.
This look is amazing.
That's
that
phenomenal.
Transition right there was
I love that reaction, Michael.
What says on the page is that I'm too good a lawyer to deny anything that I know, and that's it.
But that's also a moment which, to me, unveils what a powerfully strong and deep guy this is. The Chuck, there's nothing light here at all. He is strong in his own way.
Right back to when I passed the bar and tried to join the firm. You didn't want me. Speak up. Tell me why.
There's a weird mix of, I'm seeing a weird mix of, fascinating mix of shame and pride, and yet pride in that same, it's a wonderful reaction you're giving here.
It is.
You guys are so great in this. One day of shooting this whole scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine how tired you guys must have been.
real lawyer.
I love that. I love this.
But the other advantage that your choice of having simple coverage is it means that you can get the scene right and not try to get it right from every single conceivable angle.
Yeah.
Beautifully edited. This was Skip Curtis?
Yeah.
Beautifully edited by Skip. As
Yeah, I
always.
think it made me cry about every time I saw it,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
from the very beginning.
It makes me. Me too. You know what? It made me tear up every time I saw it too.
Very proud. So that's it then, right? Keep old Jimmy down in the mailroom.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I feel like Chuck is right on so much of this.
Yeah.
You dedicate your life to something. This guy's out having fun and screwing around, and then he comes and he thinks he's going to be a name partner at the law firm I worked so hard to be good at.
Well, there it is, right there. The law is sacred.
Yeah.
If that's what you're really living and dying by, then I have no choice.
You know I'm right.
But you didn't have to do it behind his back.
How else? How would you have written it, wise guy?
You know what I found really
I know
interesting?
exactly what you're saying. That's true.
In the blocking, Thomas, is that none of the two, and that might be a question for you as well, Michael, is that none of the two characters ever get up of their seats. In the heat of the argument, in the heat of the emotions, they both stay seated. I found that to be such an interesting
But it's like
choice.
they're in a ring. They're in a ring.
Yeah.
They can't leave until one of them.
To me, it was like
that was
it
interesting.
was Jimmy putting his brother on the stand at this moment. This is some of his. I felt like that was some of Jimmy's best legal work. We don't see him in the courtroom that much.
Yeah.
But to me, that was getting your brother on the stand and making him break and getting this is you can't handle the truth moment.
He doesn't ask any question to which he doesn't know the answer.
Right.
That's as a good lawyer must.
For me, this scene was really sibling rivalry and done in a way that you don't see it done so often, which is sibling rivalry usually builds and simmers without outbursts. It's always underneath, and you get that the entire season. After this scene, you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, there was this rivalry that you thought that Bob felt. But then it's Michael the whole time, It's
great stuff. And I got to give a quick shout out, Zim Zam Yo Yo Man.
Oh,
Mark, look it up on YouTube by all
Zim
means.
Yo.
Zim Zam Yo Yo Man. Look it up.
Oh my Lord!
That's Mark, and it is brilliant. And do yourselves a favor.
Guys.
It's
Thank you,
not like
everybody.
anything else.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Great
Thank
job,
you.
everybody.
Thanks for having me in, guys.